How about now? Now do I have some, now I think I have sound. Okay. But my screen is frozen and I'm not sure why. Okay, am I back? Now I'm good? Okay, no sound and freezing video. I know, because this is hashtag not professional. Does it work now? Maybe? This is a good way to start. This is a good way to start it out, right? Yeah? We're doing pretty good. I hear you and your screen is moving now. See, that's usually the goal, but what I wanted to do was just catch you guys off guard. I'm just seeing if you're paying attention. Because I love you so much. It was a test. I'm testing you. I'm just kidding. This is just one more chance for you guys to see that I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, that was really weird. So what I did was I switched up my my headphones. So hopefully the sound is okay, because I'm using completely different headphones this time, different sounds, kind of how live video is supposed to work. You know, whenever I decided to do the whole live video thing, I really thought it was going to be a little bit easier, but that's okay, because eventually it works, and every week I learn something new about what not to do. So that's good. Hopefully I'm live on Instagram, hopefully. So I'm trying out a brand new, there's a lot of new things happening this time. You guys, I don't know why I think this is ever a good idea, but apparently I do. I should probably start off by actually introducing what we're going to be doing here, though. Sorry. So this is the Mega Live event. I am Lauren Herford, the host of Tulips and Honey podcast, and this is every Friday, of course. Lord willing, we usually try to go live, and I give you guys some recommendations, some suggestions. There's cool stuff that you guys send me. We mostly just talk back and forth in the comment section, because that's what's the most fun. And recently, the program that I used to go live on Instagram stopped working. And there was like an update, and then the update caused more problems than it actually fixed, and so now I can't use that program, because for whatever reason my Mac is just like, not gonna do it, not gonna do it. And so I tried everything that I could to keep using that program, because it was the easiest and the freest. It was super duper free, but it just wasn't working. But it also had a lot of issues, like Instagram. They just really don't want to actually have you go live there. They're fighting it hardcore. Chris says some of us would come just to heckle you. And that's what makes it more fun, okay? You guys don't realize this, because you don't get to see like the background scenes, like just me and my family doing our own thing. But that is how we live. Like our lives revolve around just being super goofy all the time, and teasing each other back and forth, and just being really lighthearted, because whenever you are as clumsy as I am, you have to live your life like that, because if not, you'll drive yourself mad. Now I would like to sort of make this screen here, I'm sorry that you guys are going to have to witness this, but I was hoping that since I had my mouse working, that I wouldn't be so close to the screen, and I could kind of be, further away, and that way you don't have to see my face right up front, Kat says, hello from Australia. You were recommended by Polite Leader. Oh, Hey! Oh, Alan from Polite Leader. Yes, he is a wonderful brother in Christ. I am so thankful for him. And thank you for joining us and hanging out on the live mega list. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but I do just want to say hi to everybody real quickly that I've already seen in the comment section. So hi to Sandy and to Cindy M, because you know we've got two Cindys, and hi to Chris, of course, who is also in the comment section. Hi to Kat and hi to Stacy. And okay, here we go, you guys. Let's totally get into the weird changes. Now, I don't think that I am actually live over on Instagram, so I'm gonna have to keep playing with that. It's telling me that I have the option to click a little go live button, and that'll take me live there. But I don't see a green screen, so I might play with that a little bit after I get done with this. If you guys see me live over on YouTube on Instagram, it's because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just gonna see if that works. Hey BZ, what's up? Welcome back. I just got all excited because I wanted to get to say your nickname, because last week we gave you a nickname and I got too excited and jumbled up my words. And that's why you guys are here, right? Because I'll talk to you guys about mega stuffed Oreos. And I froze again. I'm frozen. I don't know why that keeps happening. Am I back now? Why did I freeze? I should have taken the time to get a drink while I was frozen. I don't know why that keeps happening. That's really weird. I'm just gonna keep my Zoom thing up, but I did, like I mentioned already like 5 times, but didn't actually finish the thought that I've switched up a few things, and I think whenever I decide to switch up some things in the future, what might be a good idea is to switch up things one thing at a time and try it, and then next week then add more. But instead this week I was like, I'm just gonna do it all. So I am trying a different program for going live on Instagram, so I'm not really sure if that's actually working or not, or if it's I don't know, maybe doing absolutely nothing. Could be doing absolutely nothing. I have no idea. But I will have to check that out whenever we get started. BZ, the live event literally just started. Let's see here. It started, technically it started 10 minutes ago, but the first like 3-4 minutes is just like my music stuff. And then the first minute after that was me not, you not being able to actually hear me, and also my screen being frozen. So you haven't missed anything yet. You're totally good. But in this live event, I'm really excited because I'm going to be announcing the winners of the big giveaway that we haven't done yet, that we are doing, and that would be 5 copies of Jim Osmond's God Doesn't Whisper, 3 copies of Costi Hinn's book God, Greed, and the American Gospel, 2 digital copies of Dr. Nathaniel Jensen's book Replacing Darwin, and 2 items from the shop. So there's going to be like a first place winner, and then a second place winner, and a third place winner, and then I think there's 2 others. I've got it written down. I'll have to pull that up. But let's keep going here. I'm going to pull up my notes so that I have those winners actually listed, and hopefully it won't freeze again. But I can't keep that other little thing up, and you guys, there's a lot of little buttons and things that have to be clicked. Oh, BZ, that's a really good question. I'm going to put that at the end here, so that, I can't reach my screen, so I can't add that at the end. You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and just answer that question now then, because I can't reach I put my computer, oh, you're so far away, because I found my mouse. Well, I mean, I had my mouse the whole time, but I reconfigured things so that my mouse would work with my Mac. And so I need a Bluetooth mouse that doesn't need to be connected to anything. Like, don't they have that? Am I just too cheap? Am I buying the cheapest mice? Is the plural of a computer mouse mice? I'm going to need somebody to answer that in the comments, because I'm not really sure. But what do I think about King James onlyism? BZ, that is actually one of the requirements in our group on Facebook, is that you not be a King James onlyist apologist, because they are often, and I don't want to lump them all together, because I actually have met very pleasant people who believe in only King James onlyisms, but online, social media wise, they do tend to be quite aggressive. Now, I think it's nonsense. I think that if you look at the history of the church, what we see is different translations being, in fact, I think I actually did a portion of an episode on this in the church history episode that I did, I think a little bit before Thanksgiving. I did an episode all about church history where I gave like this broad overview, and I kind of talked a little bit about this in that episode where I addressed like the fact that when the Septuagint sort of type was being translated into, so like, okay, so let's back up here and we'll get a little bit more specific. Originally what you had was Greek, right? So you had the New Testament in Greek, and of course it was being translated into different languages and stuff as it was being dispersed, but the main one would have been Greek because most Romans at the time were speaking Greek. And then when the Latin language became popular, a lot of people said that the Latin translation, the Latin Vulgate meaning, that's actually the term that we use to get like the word vulgar, but at the time it just meant common. Vulgate just means common. So Latin was the common language. People thought that it shouldn't be translated into the common language. The Bible was too special for the common language. It needed to be left in Greek. Most people didn't speak Greek anymore, so they wanted it in Latin. And then whenever we translated the Latin into different languages like German and French and whatever, now of course we have it in English, people said the exact same thing. Well, Latin is goodness. I mean, there are still people today who think that you should only do mass. It's a Catholic thing, do mass in Latin. But they said Latin is the holy language. It's the inspired language. It's the beautiful language. That's the only language that our Bible should be translated into. And so then, whenever it was translated into the King James Version, you had that whole thing. But now that we have other translations that are modernized, instead of the King James Version, we have the exact same debate happening. And so it's really, it's almost obnoxiously ironic that every time the big, main, most popular translation is replaced, somebody somewhere is all like, this is terrible and horrible because this is over here as the best kind of thing ever, and we shouldn't change it to anything else to make it more easy for people to read. So there's always that weird thing that happens each and every time. And so when you see it through like the lens of actual church history throughout the last 2,000 years, it looks quite silly to have that argument. Now there's also an argumentation that stems off of a completely different translation that they say that's the only translation that we should be using. We have tens of thousands of copies. I know where I talked about this. I talked about this in the episode about how to, whether or not we can trust our Bible. That's where I talked about this. We have tens of thousands of copies of ancient texts of the New Testament. Ancient, I mean, like the oldest one that we have is just a few decades removed from the apostle who wrote it. That is just an embarrassment of riches, I think is the most used phrase for that. It's an embarrassment of riches that we have all of these wonderful different texts and in different languages, and then we have these same texts being quoted by the early church fathers, the patristic fathers, men who were trained by the apostles. And so now what we have is this embarrassment of riches, where we have in today's age more copies of the New Testament than we've ever had in history, and people are saying, but I still want to read, and we think that the only copy that anybody should ever read, so that's it's fine if you want to only read the King James Version, if that's the version you prefer, right? That's totally fine. But to say this is the only version that God has inspired would be, as Chris said, so don't blame me, Chris said it, insanity. We have all of these copies of Scripture that we found since the New King James Version was written. So why would we not want the closest, most accurate depiction of what was actually written? I'm not really sure why anybody would want that. So it's not just confusing to me, but it can get very aggressive. They do get on social media quite aggressive, and so it is actually one of those things that you'll just get completely banned for. There's only a couple of things that I feel that way towards. Flat earthism is one of the things. If you're a flat earther and you're going to come into our group and start a bunch of drama, then we'll ban you. But I am actually going to be talking about these subjects. I'm really excited that you asked this question, BZ. So for all the folks that are new or joining us now, because we've got a few people that I saw their names click through too quickly, but a few folks that just joined us, where BZ asked the question about how I feel about King James onlyism. And so I definitely wanted to take the time to quickly answer that because my computer is too far away for me to reach it, so I couldn't write that down. And so unlike normal, where I usually have my computer like right here, and you guys have to like see all the pores on my face, I've got my mouse now. And so for a while there, I saw the best conversations in the world were happening in the comment section about mice or mices or mises, and that's just the best thing ever. So that is how I feel about King James Version. I definitely think it's an important topic for us to have at least a slight amount of understanding on. A little bit of apologetics goes a long way whenever you're talking about translations, and we're going to be talking about translations. And I want to highlight something really, really cool that somebody said in regards to the group. So you just connected two different things from today's mega list all in that one question. That is awesome. That is why BZ has a nickname. And it's just the best. I hate them Mises to pieces. That is so funny. So Edward says, and I have to expand his comment real quick. Edward is over on Facebook, and hi also to Josh. You made it this time. Look at you. Josh from Godcast is up in the comment section as well. Edward says, along with other translations, King James does have words that are mistranslated, so not one in particular version is perfect. That's where we step into place and need to make sure that we are studying and going into the original languages so that we understand what the author was trying to get across. And the reason why I wanted to expand that and read it is because, well, first of all, Pastor Edward is a pastor, and I'm not, so he's way smarter than I am, but also because that is a brilliant summation of what I was trying to say. And so it's really, really fun whenever you guys are in the comments and you say things really eloquently, and I'm kind of like sitting over here thinking, and this happens every Friday, why do you guys watch me? There are so many people out there that will say this better. I can stand here and I can give you a 30-minute long apologetic for why mega stuffed Oreos are better than anything else. But whenever it comes to actually articulating real thoughts, it's a lot harder. It's a lot more difficult. Is more harder the right way? Anyways, it's been a long time since I've been in English. But yeah, also since Pastor Edward definitely did mention that, I did just want to remind you guys that is Pastor Edward from Breath of Life Breath of Life Church in San Antonio, and him and his beautiful wife over here in the comment section, Sandy. And I think I need to clean my little lens there. It looks a little blurry over there, huh? I don't know why. But anyways, she and Pastor Edward are doing crosstalk on the podcast now. So you guys are going to get crosstalk on Saturday and the Breath of Life sermons, because Pastor Edward has graciously agreed to let me continue to adding his sermons. I'm sorry, Chris's ridiculous comment just caught me off guard and threw off my entire thought process. Standard Oreos versus mega stuffed is like, do I read the Message translation or do I read the ESV? I mean, that's your choices here, okay? I'm just letting you know that is the difference between standard Oreos. I can't eat them anymore, and I'm sorry. You know what? I shouldn't encourage this. I take all of that back. Chris, do not try the mega stuffed if you haven't tried them yet, okay? Because if you have tried them and it's too much stuffing for you, I understand, because too much of a good thing. And aren't you a pineapple pizza lover? If so, that might explain a little bit of why there's some disconnect with your taste buds. But we don't hold that against you guys. I'm not making anything like check marked. I totally just got burned. Just sorry. How come I can make a decent argument for mega stuffed Oreos? This is so sad. Okay, I do need to stop encouraging people to eat mega stuffed Oreos, because I'm looking at a completely empty pack sitting on my countertop right now, because right now I'm sitting in the dining room. No pineapple. Oh, that's good, Chris. That's good. Okay. See, we're brothers and sisters in Christ. Everything's going to be okay if you don't like pineapple in your pizza. But if you do, then maybe we have a problem. Now, those were a few squirrels, so I'm going to give you guys Mark Squirrel. I did see Mark in the comments earlier. Mark, hang around. There's your squirrel. I should probably not yell too loud, because right now the microphone is really close to my face. But that was a lot. That was a lot of different squirrels. Hello, Mary. Hello. I am glad to see you as well in the comments. I can eat a whole row. You know, it's almost like they put those rows there to make it easier for you to just slip them all out and eat the whole row. Maybe that's why they did that. I have to go get Oreos now. Pineapple flavored cookies is a problem. They have pineapple flavored Oreos, do they? I think they do. Wouldn't that be just really, really horrible? I mean, I'm not like just a major fan of pineapple to begin with. Like, it's okay. It's not my favorite. First of all, it's very difficult to cut. And I still can't figure out how to tell whenever it's ripe. And when you get them home and they're not ripe, they're horrible, and they might as well just go straight to the trash. So pineapple is just not my favorite thing to begin with. But then they start like putting it in things that are already perfect, like mega stuffed Oreos are already perfect. They don't need anything else. And so Josh, because that's Josh over there, if you guys didn't know, look at this one hand. This hand over here is just so blurry. It's so weird. Since Facebook doesn't want to tell me who they are. That's Josh from the Godcast. And if you do go get them and you happen to see the mega stuffed and you haven't tried them yet, you should avoid them for the sake of your heart, because they're so much better tasting than anything else. Pineapples alone are much better than pineapples on pizza. I agree, Mark. I have to agree with you there. That is 100% accurate. You are telling the truth. And you know what? The truth will set you free, folks. So you really, really need to stop eating that pineapple on your pizza. But speaking of which, we do have a lot of really cool things to talk about today. I'm very excited about the different things that we're going to be talking about. Before we talk about, there's a couple of things that are not necessarily normal for what we do on this. I don't usually like address news or anything like that. That's just usually not my thing. My thing is kind of like squirrels. Squirrels are my thing. And then I usually give you guys like some recommendations. But this time I do have a couple of things that have happened in like sort of newsy things that I did want to mention, that I did want to talk about with you guys really quickly. So that's going to be kind of different than usual, a little different than what we normally do, but you know, you guys, you're used to it, because what we normally do is mass chaos, so we might as well throw in a little bit more. So the first thing that I did want to talk to you guys about, and I made sure to link to this article because the distinction that I am disturbed by in this, I wanted to make sure that I gave a fair overview of what I'm about to say, because it hurts and it hits really close at home. The new NASB translation, NASB 2020, 2021, I think it's the 2020. It was recently come out. I'm not torn. I'm not vacillating. I'm just trying to think of the best way to describe my concern. And I think the only way, and I know that people get tired of hearing this, but there is a slippery slope. The slippery slope is what ends up getting us Francis Chant. Okay, I mean, we've all seen it. We've seen it with a lot of these guys. It's a disturbing trend that we see with like the John Pipers of the world and stuff. Paul Tripp is another one. That slippery slope. That's the one that John MacArthur. Yes, yeah, Sandy. Don't worry. Before you panic, this is nothing heretical whatsoever. It's just something that I think we should pay attention to. That's all. And by the way, the NASB is one of my favorites. If somebody is to say which versions of scripture do you use, I use the ESV and I use the NASB. Those are my two favorites. Those are my two go-tos. But this 2020 translation, they decided to make some changes to the gender translations. So I included it in the article. You can read it for yourself. They are not hiding anything. They are not trying to be shady. This isn't something that they're doing like in the backgrounds or anything like that, but it is something that's concerning to me. And the reason it's concerning to me is because, as you'll see if you read the whole article, it's long, it's detailed. I'm going to give you guys a scroll really quickly so I can take a drink before I continue telling you guys about this. Sorry. Okay. You know what, one more drink. Okay. There we go. Now, so shady. Hey, Patrick from Cave to the Cross Apologetics, and Kaylee, our Kaylee H2. Is Kaylee Higgins? What did you guys decide if you're going to be Kaylee 1, Kaylee 2, Kaylee 3? We need some distinctions. I think the Master's Seminary is working on a new translation. I remember Pastor MacArthur mentioning it. That's exciting, Mary. That is very exciting. I would be very thankful for that. So the problem that I have in this article is that they have decided to change some some gender translations, some words that in the Greek we see a male, I don't even know how to like put the words to it because I'm not very good at, I took Spanish for 4 years and I can barely count to 10. But most other languages, not ours, but most other masculine. Thank you, Josh, over the Godcast. You guys, since his name is over here now, you can see him because he's not hidden from the weird Facebook thing. Don't forget to go and subscribe to some of these channels that are hanging out over here in the comment section whenever you get a chance, because if they're hanging out over here in the mega list, it's probably because they're awesome. So check them all out. But yes, the masculine, and what we see in in other languages is that they have this masculine tense where it gives you, gosh, I'm just butchering this, but I can tell you all about the mega stuffed Oreos. Basically what it is they can say a word with a masculine hint to it. I don't know. In Spanish, it's like the last letter of the word will be different, and that'll tell you that it's a masculine. Sorry, I just bumped to the table really, really bad. But it'll tell you guys that it's a masculine tense or a masculine form or masculine verb, whatever it is. And so what they wanted to do with the NASB is to make it make sense with the changes, and this is what bothers me. They made changes about starting to question that awesome claim after that Oreo burn I received. But your show is still awesome. Your show is still very awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for that. That is all I'm trying to say. There's masculine, feminine, neutered in Greek. What they did instead oh, that's a good question. Some people are Calvinist and some people are against it. Why is that? That's a great question, Kat. I'll address that as soon as we get done with this one. I'll move straight on to that question instead of keeping all the questions at the very bottom, because I want to make sure that I don't forget them all. Mark, the link that goes to the Babylon Bee is actually for something we're going to talk about later. The link that's for the Lockman.org, that's the one that will talk about this particular thing. That's this article. But what they're suggesting in the article is that our understanding of gender has changed, and so that the masculine stuff or whatever it is doesn't work for today. People don't understand that today like they used to understand it. And that bothers me because, first of all, it's nonsense. And when we look at the actual change of the way the world is looking at gender, the way the world is supposedly changing their ideas of gender is not scientific or biblical or anything that anybody should be taking into consideration for anything that's logical, reasonable, understandable, or regarding scriptural translations whatsoever. So basically where you would see in the past, if Paul was talking about, man's sin, now they've changed it to mankind. In the original Greek, that would have been a masculine form, because Adam was the first one who sinned. Men are the head of the house. All of that stuff comes into play. And so if he had wanted to say all of humanity, Paul could have said all of humanity, right? Like it's not what he said. It's not what the translations, it's not what the tens of thousands of copies of the New Testament that we have say. It says, man. We don't need them to take what we have specifically and do this. And even if they're going to put it in like these thingies, these thingies, what are they? They're not parentheses. What are they called? Whatever you put the little loops. Why do you guys watch my show? I don't understand. One of you guys will tell me. So yeah, it's not a heretical thing. It's not it's not something that's going to make me stop reading the NASB. In fact, in the article, you will see them talk about how they understand that a lot of people will prefer their 1995. Those would be parentheses. Thank you, Chris. See, this is why I shouldn't ever make burns, ever, because, look at, how nonsensical I am. I can make funny comments about about Oreos, though. So bad. Okay, I have to give you guys a scroll again because the curvy things are, in fact, the parentheses is what I was going for. You're right. Yep, I was definitely going for parentheses. There you go. There's my little squirrel again. And I'm just going to get a drink really quickly. You guys, it's snowing here, which is beautiful, but usually it's at least a little bit of, it's usually not so dry. It feels like the air feels kind of dry. Yeah, no, parentheses, that's the one I'm looking for. Thank you, Mary. Really sorry about all of that confusion. Anyways, I don't think that this is something that we would need to separate churches over or anything to that nature. I find it to be something that we need to be concerned enough to watch for. I don't think it was necessary. I don't think, as far as I could see, far and wide, there were no calls for this. There was nothing where we were seeing mass confusion from people who were like, oh no, man, does that mean women haven't sinned? No, that was not a thing that was happening. And if that is ever a thing that's happening, then somebody needs to take all these pastors, put them all back in seminary so that they can learn how to explain these very simple, basic things. That's what mega stuffed Oreos do to you. They excess sugar eats your brain cells. I didn't have very many of those left, and now the rest are gone. Be right back. I'm actually buying Oreos. I should have some sort of sponsorship with Oreos. I mean, come on. Oh man, women universalism. Yeah, so we are not of this world, and we shouldn't be feeding into sins. I agree, Cindy. And I'm glad you guys could see my concern with this. That I'm definitely not going to say that it was this groundbreaking. I mean, if they had incorporated them, that he that kind of nonsense, the pronouns that we see, then we would have had a problem, right? So that would have been incredibly difficult. For me to have not just said, oh, please, no, we're definitely not going to be reading that anymore. But it is talked about in that article. It is mentioned in that article. They explain why they didn't choose to do that. And I'm like, that should not be something that you need to explain ever. No, this isn't a thing that we need to be worried about. Isn't a thing that needs to be happening. I need everybody to stop the nonsense, please. Can we please stop all this craziness? There is no concern over this. And so I was frustrated by that, and I was shocked by it. I do love the NASB. It's the translation that I use with Kaylee whenever we're studying scripture together. So I just wanted to mention that so you guys could all keep an eye on it with me, and that we can sort of not let that one go under the rug, because I do think that it's important that we see that we not let the few good translations slip. So that's why I mentioned that. Also, Patrick, if you like to take the double stuffed and combine them, basically what you're getting with that is a mega stuffed. So there you go. God's word is eternal. It doesn't need to be modified to suit gender. Thank you, Pastor Edward. I totally agree 100%. It is a little bit disturbing that was even something that they were thinking about at all. Is the NASB just showing when they are talking about all mankind, men and women? Oh, I gotta go back over here. And when they are talking about men, guys, just to differentiate. That's a really, really good question, Shannon. Actually, what is happening with the translation and the way that they're changing things is that there are the masculine and feminine forms in Greek. They think are confusing, because if there is a scripture where it would be talking about all of mankind, they want to add men and women, or to make it say brothers, and this is a big thing that they talk about in the article, brothers and sisters in parentheses, even though in the original text that's not what it says. And so the idea is that people no longer understand brethren to mean everybody in the church. I think that the world may not understand that, but the churches understand the context. Christians understand that context. the world does still understand that context. They want to pretend like that context doesn't exist. Sure, yeah, that's a thing that's happening. They're definitely pretending like that's not a thing that's real. But that doesn't mean that they don't understand the context. It just means that they are pretending like it doesn't exist. So that was my problem with it. I definitely would still read the NASB. I don't see any reason not to recommend the NASB. I just thought that this was something that would be concerning enough to mention it, something concerning enough to keep an eye on it, make sure that this isn't going to continue to happen. And also, I think if we really address these things now, that maybe we can stop the slip from getting any worse. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that'll be something that you guys can join me in keeping your eye out. I'm glad also to see that I'm not just like a weirdo that was concerned about something for no reason. You know, I'm glad that you guys are all sort of like, oh yeah, that's kind of concerning and a problem. So I'm gonna give you guys another squirrel before we move on to the next thing. There it is. There's another squirrel. And I'm so thirsty today because of all this dry snow. It's really pretty. It hadn't snowed here in a while. And my husband is always saying to me that on his days off, it either rains or snows. And whenever he goes to work, it's always sunny. And it's funny because it's true. And so a while back, I got him a new drone. He was really excited. He loves to go and do the drone footage. I don't know if I've ever gotten to show you guys any of the beautiful drone footage that he's gotten. If not, I'll try to drop some on Facebook or something later on. But he just gets the most beautiful footage, and the drones these days have cameras better than like anything else. It's crazy. So he has a DJI, one of those DJI drones, and we're in this beautiful area here where the lakes are crystal clear. Some of the clearest lakes in the country are here. This is a nesting ground for bald eagles, so they're all up here right now. So there should be a ton of beautiful, bald eagles everywhere. Apparently they're a little bit more aggressive than you would think, so you're not supposed to like go up to them. But we were hoping to get a little bit of drone footage of them from afar because you can zoom in with it and stuff. You don't want to get your drones very close to them because they will attack your drones. Like the footage that you can find online of them getting the drones, like the drones don't stand a chance. It's really funny. So I wish I had a drone so I could film the Cardinals and Blue Jays. Are you close enough where you could fly your drone over to the baseball field and get to watch from there? Because that would be really, really cute. Or wait, do you mean actual birds? Are the Blue Jays even a baseball team, or did my brain just go the wrong direction? You know what? Baseball's not on anymore. Sorry, guys. It's been a really weird year for sports, okay? And it's my fault. Actual birds, that would be really pretty. See, smaller birds, they don't attack the drones. But the birds of prey, any kind of falcon, and it's really funny because around here there's a lot of I always forget how to pronounce their weird name, but it's not ostriches, but it's like ospreys, I think is what they're called, and they're almost as big as a bald eagle. And the bald eagles come in every time, and so over the winter they come in. The bald eagles come up here and they have all their babies. And the osprey have to like move over because even though they're almost as big as the bald eagles, they're not. So the osprey live here all year round, and they're huge and they are gorgeous. We got this really, really cool footage last year, and there was this osprey, and we just happened to be filming at this dam over at Coeur d'Alene, Idaho Lake, and so we were filming this beautiful water, and it was so gorgeous. And we turned around the little film to take like a picture of us, and we got this bird just zooming down out of this tree into the water to caught a fish, and we watched this osprey sit and eat its fish from a perch. But we started to get too close, and it started doing this really, it had its fish in its little, and it's not little, but it's giant claws, and it started doing this funny head bob thing, like, back up, what are you doing? And it was doing this really, really cool bobbing thing. It was just crazy. But they're really cool to record too, but they will just knock your drone out of the air. So every time we would fly it, immediately we would see above the drone, quite a bit of ways above the drone, some types of large birds, just hovering around it. And so it's weird that I guess maybe they don't like the noise. I'm not sure what it is. But anyways, that was a squirrel. That was a big squirrel. Here you guys go for a big giant squirrel. Goodness gracious. Okay, the next thing. That's almost a little bit like newsy, I guess, and you guys have probably already heard this, but YouTube has actually ramped up their efforts in censorship, which is ironic because they got so much pushback already for what we've already seen. But I think that maybe they're like a little bit emboldened right now because of everything that happened with the things that I can't talk about, because if I talk about them, I'll be pulled off of YouTube. So I can't even say the words, because if I say the words about what, and you guys all know at least what I'm talking about, if I say the words, this video will be pulled because it's not allowed. And I thought that was kind of not just sad, but ironic. So YouTube censoring, shocking, definitely not shocking. No, I did that. I keep thinking this is so funny. That video on censorship that was demonetized, and no matter how many times I tell them, I'm like, guys, it's not, there's nothing wrong with this episode. There's nothing in it inappropriate. I'm not saying any bad words, nothing in there to scare children or anything like that. But they're like, this is not family friendly. That's a weird complaint. Okay, because the only thing about my show that you guys wouldn't like is that I was talking about y'all. So as the censorship stuff is ramping up in ridiculous ways on YouTube, the government is currently working on actually limiting like Facebook and their sort of monopolies. So they bought, Instagram, and it is because, and I think this is fascinating. I didn't know this. I understood a little bit of it, but I learned a lot more. The social media sites that we have, they receive some special treatment because they're supposed to be open platforms. And if they're not going to be open platforms for all of the voices, then they shouldn't be receiving special treatment from the government. And so I didn't know that they were getting all these like special exemptions and stuff, and they were allowed to do things that ordinarily they companies weren't supposed to be doing and stuff like that. I mean, all these sorts of exceptions had to be made because social media was just this massive thing that happened, sort of organically. And so because of that, because they are actually receiving all these exemptions, they're supposed to behave in a certain way. They're supposed to be open platforms for all speech, and they're not. And so I thought that was kind of interesting that those two things were simultaneously happening at the same time. And I'm like, I mean, I don't mind going to other social media sites. I'm on MeWe, I'm on Parler. That's totally fine. There are other ways to get these videos out there to folks. That's fine too. But do they really just want to alienate the other half of the country? I don't know. Super weird. What do they do about people in other countries that are talking about these same things? Like, these are the questions that keep me up. Well, okay, they don't keep me up at night. You guys, this is so really weird and random. It gets dark really early here. Here's another scroll for you, okay? I did, though, get through one whole segment. I'm just saying, I got through one whole segment. It gets dark like at 3:30 here. At 3:30, the sun starts going down, and we are so tired. Like, I think I mentioned on here before that whenever I first started going to the doctor to try to figure out what was wrong with my brain and why I was like crashing into everything and constantly confused and why I couldn't handle all the sensors and sensory stuff, sensory overload, all that stuff. The first thought was, well, you're only getting like 2 to 3 hours of sleep every night, so that'll cause some problems. And the first way to fix it was actually they were going to try and just help me sleep because I was struggling to sleep. But for the last couple of weeks, as soon as the sun started going down super duper early here, I can just close my eyes and go to sleep, because by the time I'm finally done with everything that I'm supposed to be doing each night, the sun has been down for like 10 years, right? It's in 2020 time, like you guys understand, 2020 is longer, like each hour is longer than in normal years. So 10 years equates to the sun's been down for like 7 hours. But yeah, Chris, I used to get a couple hours of sleep each night, and there would be like 1 or 2 nights of the month that I would be able to like sleep for 10 hours, like I was playing catch up. But then the rest, there would be some times where I would literally not be able to sleep at all, and I just couldn't get my brain to shut down. And so they were like, well, that's probably what's wrong. It wasn't. That's a symptom of all the other stuff. But here, for whatever reason, I have been sleeping without any medical help. Like, no melatonin, nothing. I'm closing my eyes and I'm going to sleep. It's really, really weird. But I'm assuming it has to do with the fact that it gets dark here so early. I don't really know that. I have absolutely no idea. But it's not just me. It's Justin and Kaylee too. So it's weird. It's weird. And then the sun doesn't come up until like 8. And I'm like, I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, and I need the sun up by 5 so that I can actually be awake and get things done and be like normal human beings. But Chris, you mentioned earlier about like the night shift workers. So my poor husband, he's up at the time when the sun is going down, and so he's like, I haven't seen the sun in like weeks, and he's starting to get a little bit like stir crazy for the sun. But yeah, Chris, melatonin, and they were sold out of the 10 milligram melatonin here. I had to get the 3 milligram, which means you have to take like 3 of them. But we have like stock houses of melatonin, and they tried one of the medicines they gave me was goodness, it was, I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically Justin was like, we give this to people at the hospital as like tranquilizers to put them out for the night. And I was like, oh, I can't take that. I can't take something that's going to put me out for the entire night. I'm home. I'm the only person home. I have to be able to like protect Kaylee and stuff. And she sleepwalks. So it's not like I'm just being weird, right? Like I have to actually be awake in case she does something like, I don't know, thinks we're playing tag in her sleep and tries to unlock the front door, which totally happened. So, wow, you look so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Get it jumped. A squirrel pun. Ah! I love it, Kat. You did. You did. That was a fantastic squirrel. Oh my goodness. And hey, look, and there's my daughter right there. We were just talking about you. Hi, Kaylee, in the comments. You have my deepest sympathy, said Chris. I've dealt with insomnia on and off. Yeah, insomnia, not so much fun. You get more done. That's one thing. Most of the stuff that you get done is shoddy work because you're only half alive at that point. But here, over the last week or so, I have been a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. It's weird. It's weird to be like actually getting sleep and then have to make myself wake up. It's just weird. It's weird. It's been a weird thing. But anyways, we're going to get back to the actual reason why you guys are all watching this. And it's not till here we talk about Mega Stuffed Oreos or my weird sleep patterns, because that would just be really weird if you guys were here for those two specific things. I'm sure there are niche shows out there about just those things. I could do a whole show about cookies. I'm not going to lie, because I have strong opinions about cookies. Like the fact that you're really only supposed to eat chocolate chip cookies and nothing else. Just saying. It should be nothing else. I'm sorry. I love the look of sugar cookies, though. Sugar cookies are really pretty, and they're cute. They're not pretty when I make them. They look terrible when I make them, but they're pretty when other people make them. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. But before we do get started, I'm going to take another drink because I'm super thirsty. Don't worry, I have another drink. If you guys heard that, that was almost empty. I have another one. I have a backup. I have strong food opinions, Chris, because it's the only thing I can articulate. That's so sad. What does that say about me as a human being? You guys pray for my gluttony. Okay, that's what it says. You need to be praying for my gluttony. And Josh is buying Mega Stuffed Oreos as he speaks. And he did say that he was going to give us a picture. So if there's a picture and we can get the picture evidence, maybe I can pull it and show it to you guys on here. But just in case you were wondering why you were still here, why you're still listening because at the end of this, I am going to announce the winners of all the cool stuff that we're giving away. And just so you guys know, some of the winners are actually in the comment section, so stick around just in case that's you. Also, I have a sneak peek. So if you guys did not get to see Monday's episode, Kaylee, please, sweetie, I don't want to unown you. I unown you. I don't want to disown you as my child, my only child, my precious angel child. But this is the problem. See, this is why I have strong opinions, Chris. This is what I'm dealing with. Okay, we go to the grocery store, and it's a hour-long debate over whether or not we're going to get oatmeal raisin, which is why I have trust issues. Okay, I felt that way before it was a meme. Oatmeal raisin is not a thing that should be a cookie. That's something that you eat if like you're punishing somebody. Okay, you were really naughty today, here's your punishment. Instead of chocolate chip cookies, you have to eat oatmeal raisin. That's what that's for. So, Chris says, oatmeal raisin, what did you do to mess that girl up? Like I did something wrong, Chris. Cindy's on Kaylee's side. You guys, I just don't know what happened. She'll eat other kinds of cookies, but her favorite are the oatmeal raisin, and nope. I may have, like, if I have to pick between pineapple pizza and oatmeal raisin, and I have to eat a bite of one of them, I might, depending on my mood that day, depending on what's happening, I might actually pick the pineapple pizza over the oatmeal raisins. That is how much I dislike that. I have failed, Chris. You're right. I have failed my child, and it's very sad. Kristen, I'm so glad that you're here. We're talking about oatmeal raisin cookies, because we talked about Oreos for 30 minutes last week, and now we're talking about oatmeal raisins. Sorry, but I was just talking about your episode that we did. If you guys missed the Monday episode with Kristen, where we talked about ARC, the Association of Reformed Churches, there's going to be a second episode Monday, and I do have a clip. I have a clip for you guys. I'll play it at the end after we get done. Gina's good with any kind of cookie. See, I wish I could be that person. I wish I could literally be that person. I think I'm that person. In my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm not a picky person. I'm not a picky eater. I'll just eat anything, no big deal. But when reality shows up with a plate full of Oreo or oatmeal cookie raisins, all of a sudden, I'm not that person anymore, and I've got passionate opinions about why they shouldn't exist. So, oh, that's cool. I want to see the rest of Kat's comments. Kat's from Australia. She said, we call oatmeal oats, and we make porridge. Ooh, the English heritage, early pioneers porridge. Okay, that's interesting. Chris, I am also worried about Kaylee. We'll just join together. We'll pray for her. You know, she's only 10 years old. She's got a lot to learn, and a lot of discernment that needs to be done over cookies. She's been baking us cookies, by the way, quite a bit. So she's trying to get like the recipe right. But you know what? The only thing in the house to bake is chocolate chip cookie dough. So if you're gonna make chocolate, and see, this is what it's like to be the dictator of the grocery cart, the shopping cart. So this is not a democracy. It's not a republic. This is my kitchen. So if you're gonna bake cookies, they're probably gonna be chocolate chip. But what I was going to tell you guys about is that Kristen and I have a second episode coming up for Monday. We're going to do a third episode where we wrap up some stuff that we forgot to talk about on the second episode, and also answer a lot of the questions that we've got coming in about the ARC episodes. So if you guys have any questions that you might think of after listening to all of the episodes that we have, after listening to the discussion that we had, and you want to send them to me or send them to Kristen, we're going to make a list, and we're going to address all of those questions, because we have gotten a tremendous not pushback, this was the opposite of pushback. We've got a tremendous response from everybody about the episode. We were both very blessed by the outpouring of kindness and love, and both of us were equally concerned about the amount of people that were like, yep, same thing happened to me. Yep, that's exactly what happened to me. So that's disturbing to me to see, and we thought that might be the case, that there might be thousands of people out there that have been through the exact same thing, but it was confirmed whenever we got just dozens and dozens of messages and comments about this. So if you guys do have questions, you can send them to me, biblicalbeginnings at outlook.com. Wow, Kaylee, wow. See, you don't like chocolate chip cookies, but you do eat the chocolate chip cookie dough. I'm just saying. Now, I personally also think that chocolate chip cookie dough is better than chocolate chip cookies. But let's go ahead and get to some of these super cute pictures that you guys sent me. Of course, every week you guys send me or tag me in absolutely wonderful, cute, adorable pictures. Sometimes they're squirrely, sometimes they're pineapple pizza-y, and sometimes they're adorable dogs like Daisy. Priscilla's parents just got Daisy, this new adorable little dog. She is a mix between a Pomeranian and a Chihuahua, and she is so cute. Look at Daisy, all adorable and just tiny and cute. And we have two giant monsters here that are monstrous and obnoxious. And sometimes I think, well, it might not be too bad if they were just tiny little things. So that is Daisy, super cute. I hope you guys, if you do have fluffy loved ones, if you want to send them to me, you can, and I will display them here so they can be YouTube famous for as long as we get to stay on YouTube. I posted this one. This one came from me, which is sort of unique. I don't usually find these, but I saw this on Pinterest, and I just thought it was too perfect for everything that we talk about. So there you go. There is our squirrel bee. It's just a beautiful mishmash of everything that makes this a wonderful, wonderful program. we've gone so far away from just, tulips and honey. Now we're really into a lot further territory than we meant to, but that's so cute. Okay, so also, ooh, this one's funny. Christina sent me this one. I believe she tagged me in this one on Facebook. And this is really funny. This is a pineapple pizza one. Where in the Bible can a woman get out of a marriage for this kind of blasphemy? Obviously, this poor sister in Christ, her husband brought home pineapple pizza to bake, which means you have to smell it. You have to smell the sweet, pineapple-y, savory smell with the meat's savory and the pineapple is sweet and Oh, sent the picture via Facebook Messenger. Oh, cool. Let me see if I can pull that and add it. I might have to do some quick maneuvering here because I think I can pull it and add it, but let's see what I can do while I continue talking about all these different things. Okay, let's see here. So, the next thing that we have, let me see if I can find the picture. Where is it? Oh no, I don't see it. I might have to wait for my thing to update. Sent picture via Facebook Messenger. That's weird. It's maybe it's just not there yet. I don't see it. Are we friends on Facebook? Is that why I can't see it? Is it like a suggestion? One of those things where they're like, you need approval. I don't even know how to find the approval. I need this picture, guys. It's important. I gotta have this. This is very, very important. Okay. Do you understand the importance of this picture? That while we were going live, Josh went out and got mega stuffed Oreos. I need to have the evidence for this because if so, it would be really funny. Did you send it on the group or the page maybe? And that might be why I'm not seeing it on my actual Facebook thing, or it just takes forever for my actual Facebook thing to let me know that something has happened. It could be either one of those actually. It really could. I can multitask and talk nonsense while I look for things. How about that? But I can't articulate anything that's supposed to be easy to articulate. Maybe you sent it to the wrong Lauren. If so, you might have to explain yourself to the other Lauren. But you might have sent it to my group. I mean my actual page. The actual tulips and honey page. Because that I have to go into differently. I think that's where it is. Aha, yes it is. There we go. There we go. I see a thumbs up. We're getting there, folks. Stick with me. This will be worth it. Maybe. I don't know. It might. All I see is the thumbs up. I don't see it. Oh no. Okay. I'm going to wait a minute. Maybe it will load. That does tend to happen. But I see your thumbs up. My computers are all slow right now because I'm going live. So that might be what's wrong. Also, I lost the comments because I clicked out of it. Sorry. I'm getting back there though. You guys are so super patient. I'm just kidding. Everybody's gone now. Y'all aren't gone. That's crazy. How fun. Y'all are just the most fun. Okay. So while I wait for that, and I will 2 hours later. Yes, thank you, Sissy. Thank you, Kaylee. So funny. Let's see here. The next thing that I wanted to show you guys. Oh, okay. So this is the Babylon Bee thing that I did. That Mark, you mentioned earlier. You had clicked that. This is the Babylon Bee article that Miyoshi. I always mispronounce her name. Miyoshi actually shared this on the Facebook group. Restaurant food guidelines. Pineapple goes on pizza. Look at this blasphemy. So, my response to this was that obviously this is actually the Great Reset. So the Great Reset is just the fact that they decided that, and I'm trying to get to the right. Aha, I just got the picture. I just got it. I got it. Oh my goodness. That's so funny. I think I could just do this though. Might be able to just do. Look at that. Josh just sent me that. He legitimately was like, oh my goodness, talking about Oreos. Here, I have to go get Oreos. And then he did. He sent me in the vehicle. It's so funny. That is awesome, Josh. Awesome. You deserve a prize for that. You know what your prize is? Delicious Oreo cookies. That's what your prize is. And it's gonna be delicious. Okay, so that article I linked to because it's hilarious, and so I said Babylon Bee's most recent prophecy is that. So the Great Reset is that they're going to now force us to eat pineapple on pizza, which probably is actually poison. I'm assuming in some way or another. If you're going to decrease the surplus population by forcing people to eat pineapple on pizza, I don't want to have more children in a world like that. So funny. I love it. Okay, I think that's all of the cute stuff that you guys sent me. No, it's not. No, I've got one more. Oh, I'm super excited about this because I think I missed this last week. Mark sent me his parents' welcome mat. Look how fun that is. Welcome to the nut house. It gets a little squirrely around here. I love that this squirrel is upside down. I just love that so much. I think that's fun. I just did an interview and I can't wait for you guys to thank you, BZ, for telling that truth right there. That's right. Pineapple on pizza is gross. You're right. 100%. So I just did this, this live stream has gone completely off the rails. Were there rails? Were we supposed to stay on the rails? I thought that was just like an indication of like something that somebody else does, and then we just do, you know, we go wherever we want. No? Yeah? Rails are boring, okay? This is much more fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into, I do have this fun thing that I want to tell you guys this. So this is really neat. This, and I have to live with her. I know you guys should really pray for my family more often, because if you think that this is just like a show, I mean, technically this is a show. Like we're on a show, like I'm talking here for this show, but in reality, it's way worse. This is me well behaved. This is me at my best, well behaved. I'm sitting still in one spot. I haven't gotten up for anything yet. I'm just saying. There you go. This is the best it's gonna get. Everybody else has to deal with way worse than this. So I got the best answer back. So if you guys don't know, over on Facebook we have the Tulips and Honey Hub group, and there are 3 questions that you have to answer to get in the group. Now most of the time when people forget to answer the questions, and I'll check them to see if they're like, you know, okay and not I don't know, crazy on their Facebook pages or anything like that. I'll check them if they haven't answered. But if they do answer, for the most part, their answers are pretty standard. But this one is not standard. This one is fantastic. So one of the 3 questions that you have to answer to join our group is whether or not you like pineapple on pizza. And I put that in there because I'm in charge, so I could. I did. And this is one of the best responses I've ever gotten to that. This is from Sabrina. She's a new member in the group. And her answer to this question was, if I pinch my nose, stand on one foot, no. Isn't that great? I love that answer. Do you like pineapple on pizza? Only if no, just kidding. Not even if it's gonna keep me from starving to death. So I just wanted to thank Sabrina for being wonderful, for joining our group, and also for having that fantastic, super awesome comment about, or answer, not comment, answer. Who disliked this video? Probably somebody that likes pineapple on their pizza, BZ. Probably. I'm just assuming. I mean, I'm just making assumptions here. That's not like unbiblical, is it? Okay, recommendations. The first thing that I have here on the list is actually not a recommendation. I put it in the wrong spot, but I'm really excited about this guy. You guys, a couple of months ago, I think a couple of months ago, I put a request in for Tulips and Honey Hub to be in Pandora. So if you guys don't know how cool this thing works, you actually have to, if you're podcasting, you have to go in to each and every platform and submit your podcast and ask permission to be put into their platform. So it's not like I clicked this button and ta-da, now I'm everywhere. No, we podcasters have to do it individually, and so I finally got us approved to be on Pandora. So if you guys listen to anything on Pandora, I don't even know what it is, but it was one of the new options where they were bringing in. It was a what's it called? Like they're just now introducing or something like that. So when I got the Amazon thing, where Amazon was all like, we're starting this new podcast thing, I also got a thing about Pandora. So that's exciting. I was really excited to see that just in case if people over there are using that, you know, yeah, Pandora. How cool is that, Josh? I mean, it took forever. It took absolutely forever for me to get that might be a charismatic or someone who hates Reformed folks. BZ, you might be right. Which reminds me that there was a question that I was going to answer, and I didn't get to it, but I need to go back and find it so that I can answer it, because I said I was going to answer it so that I didn't forget, and then I forgot. And it was about Calvinism, and let me see if I can find that. I might be looking at the wrong place here, but I did see that, and since I saw it, I need to go back and see if I can find that question. Where did it go? No, it was here somewhere. It was like a question about why some people love Calvinism and why some people hate Calvinism. Do you guys see that too, or did I just completely make that up in my brain and think there was a question here that there's really not? Because I'm going to be honest, that's possible. It's possible that that's the thing that happened. It took me a while for Amazon. Yeah, Amazon took me a while too, and I'm not sure like how many people actually use those. It was there. Chris, you saw it too? Okay, that's good. At least I know that other people are there. Streaming music and radio services. Oh, that's what Pandora is for. Okay, cool. Well, now we are apparently on Pandora, and the Google Play is no longer working. So I was all excited about getting on Google Play, and I think that was the beginning of 2020. Now they have transferred everything over to YouTube Music. So technically we're on there. So that's cool. I've had listeners from South Africa, so it's worth it. That's so cool. How neat is that? Okay, so see, that's why we want to be on all the different platforms. Because if we're on all the different platforms, then for sure the people who are listening from different areas can actually see that. I saw the question earlier and have looked into why some people think Calvinism is heretical. Oh, that's the question? Okay. So I'll go ahead then and answer that. Let me see here if I can find it. It wasn't on the Facebook whenever I looked at the Facebook, but that doesn't mean it wasn't on there. It might just mean that I'm not seeing it anymore. It's possible. Either one of those could be possible. But why do some people think that Calvinism is heretical? So let me get a drink real quick before I answer that. We don't have a huge following, but having access on different services at least gives you more platforms to work from. Yeah, I think that podcasting in general is sort of this, not like a niche or anything like that, but that there is a lot of people that don't know what podcasting is. And so for me, the exciting thing is to receive messages of people that say, hey, I never even listened to podcasts before, but I found yours and somebody recommended it, and now I'm listening to that. And then they're finding, like actual helpful podcasts, because there's recommendations, and they might actually like listen to Grace to You or R.C. Sproul stuff or Richard or whatever it is. And so it's cool to me to think that there's such a small amount of people that listen to podcasts regularly that we have a huge amount of people still to reach. So I think that's really, really fun. Wait, you get messages? Do I get messages? Do I remember to check my messages? See, that's a thing. That's why do people still message me? Yes, Wretched is great. I definitely agree. So the reason why some people think that Calvinism is heretical is because there is a large portion of Christians today that while they would agree that God is sovereign, do not actually think that God is sovereign over salvation. So for me, from the research that I've done, this is the current biggest concern. I don't think it's always been one concern over the other. I think that there are times in history where there have been other concerns, but that today's major concern is that people think that they have chosen God, that they have chosen Christ, that it was their actions that caused them to be saved, that they prayed a prayer or whatever it is, and now they're saved. Whereas in Calvinism, it's all God's sovereignty. So you are not actually doing anything to be saved. And Jesus says this whenever he talks about if you're born, he's talking to Nicodemus, and he's like, you didn't have any control over when you were born the first time, you were born the second time, and where the wind blows, who knows? And he's explaining this, and it's the best example, and of course it's the best example because it came from Jesus himself. We didn't have any control of being born the first time. we don't have any control over being born the second time. When you're born again, it is all for the glory of God, faith alone, in Christ alone, for the 5 solas. And so that is the main reason, the doctrines of grace, that's right, Josh, that's the main reason why so many people in modern Christianity, why they think this is heretical or something that makes them uncomfortable, right? It makes them uncomfortable quite a bit to say that God is sovereign. And so the reason it makes them uncomfortable is because then they don't have any control over it. If you don't have any control over things, it can make you uncomfortable. So for instance, if you don't have any control over, like Kristen and I were having this conversation as we were driving to see Justin Peters preach last Sunday, the drivable self-driving cars. Now, I'm a mess, so I'm excited about self-driving cars because if you guys think this is bad, you should see me driving. I'm the reason why people pray before they get in the cars, okay? But she was saying how she was worried about the self-driving cars because she can't, like, if she wants to go fast, like the government can actually control how fast you're going. If you don't have control over things, sometimes that can be a little bit more frightening. But like Josh just said, the scriptures do say, "You did not choose me, I chose you." And the Bible also talks about how our heart is deceitfully wicked. Who can know it? It talks about how no man would choose God. We see that all throughout Scripture. It's plain and obvious. Remind me to never be on the road with you or drive with me, Chris. Sometimes my husband will be absolutely exhausted and he'll still drive. He'll be like, "I worked all night and I still haven't slept, but I'm going to drive," because my driving makes him really sick to his stomach. So I'm a brake person. Like, I hit the brake. I don't slow. I'm working on it. I'm trying really hard, but I don't slow to a stop. I'm just like, boom, we're here. We're at the stoplight, and I stop, and so that makes people sick. So yeah, it's Mary says, I'm going to pull up her comment right here. Pastor MacArthur discusses the 2 parallel truths about predestination and man's responsibility, never intersecting, but both being true. Yes, Mary, and what a beautiful way that he can put it like that, because that is the truth, that we are responsible for our sins. We are responsible for the life that we live. In fact, the Bible says that God is going to hold us accountable for every vain word we speak, right? Like that's our responsibility. God is sovereign over the salvation. And when people say that that's a horrible doctrine because everybody should be saved or nobody deserves to go to hell, that's sort of where that's coming from. Oh, well, this is a mean and angry God that he doesn't just save everybody. But the truth is that nobody deserves to be saved. If we were all waiting to deserve heaven, nobody would ever make it there, right? Like it's the fact of our society. You're just go and get it, girl, and oh, you're so wonderful, you deserve better, and all that other stuff. Our society has so focused on what we deserve, on building people up, and it's a lot to do with like being anti-bully and stuff like that. And I don't have a problem with encouraging people. I think encouragement is wonderful, but it has done that to the point where people think, well, I'm a good person, I'm okay, I don't deserve hell. Why would God send me to hell? Because you sinned against him. And the second you sinned against him the first time, you should have gone to hell. But God, in his grace, has allowed you to continue to live. And every day, every single day, even as a believer, as a saved believer, that is incredibly, unimaginably thankful for the salvation that I've been given, because I was a wretch. I'm still a wretch. I am still in the situation where I am battling this flesh, and just the battle of the flesh, having to actually fight against sin, is very frustrating, because God deserves perfect love from me. He deserves perfection from all of us because of the grace and the love and the kindness that he gave in saving me. And just the fact that he existed. He doesn't have to save me to deserve perfect love from me. He doesn't have to sanctify me and justify me and adopt me into his family to deserve perfect love, because he is my creator. I am his creation. And so he should already have that from me. He shouldn't have to give me anything to receive my perfect worship. But I'm imperfect and I do sin. And before I was saved, I was an idolater. I had created a God in my own image. I didn't deserve that salvation, but God graciously gave it to me. I didn't do anything to make it happen. And that's uncomfortable for people. And so that's the long answer, because today is the day for long-windedness. that's the long answer for why people don't like Calvinism. I think it gets a bad rap for the reason of the fact that there are cage stagers out there, cage staging, making us all look kind of mean and grumpy. So that's it. That's the answer to that. That's all I have to say about that. How important is the intercession of... Oh no, it went away. Josh says, how important is the intercession of Jesus Christ for us? He ever lives to intercede for us. That's right, Josh. I mean, could you just imagine that? Think about what you just think about that truth, that Christ ever lives to intercede for us before the throne of God. Like, we are the little gnat shaking its fist at the hurricane. That's us. That's how unimaginably small we are. Unimportant. What will we ever accomplish in this life that would have any sort of effect on God himself? We can't bless him with our stuff. We can't bless him with our intelligence. I love this. I was just reading in Psalms that portion where God is saying, do I come to you if I'm hungry? You know, like, you're not going to feed me. I'm not hungry. I don't need anything from you. I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. He doesn't need anything from us. There's nothing that we can provide him. He doesn't need our love. You know, like that, like, needy Jesus that people are always talking about. Oh, he needs you to, he wants you so badly to trust him because he loves you and he wants you to love him back. No, that's not true. God was perfect before he ever created humanity. God didn't need anything from anybody, right? So he doesn't need us, and yet he ever lives to intercede for us. Are you kidding me? That is unbelievable to me. Like, it's just something that my teeny tiny little brain cannot wrap its mind around. That something as insignificant as me that is here today and gone tomorrow would actually have God the Son condescend to become man, to enter his creation and live this perfect life, and then die in my place, drink the wrath that was stored up for me, and then now he's literally interceding for me. I just can't, you know, like, it's, and people are still like, oh, God just is this mean, angry God. Like, come on. Hey, do y'all think Satan uses family and friends to discourage you? Let me see if I can make sure that I read all of that. Do you think that's a really good question. The way that I want to answer that is twofold. So first of all, we see in Job that there is nothing that Satan is able to do that God has not allowed. So he's not freely acting wherever he wants to be, doing whatever he wants. Now, what we see in Job is that Satan caused a lot of horrible things to happen that were very, not just discouraging, but devastating to Job. We also see in the Bible things like, I believe it's Joseph who says, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. So a lot of times the things that, yes, of course, our adversary Satan, who is roaming about seeking whom he can destroy, what he might mean for evil, God is able to use for our good. And so there are a lot of times when my dog just sneezed and it was super cute. Sorry. Did you guys hear that? That was so adorable. There's a lot of times whenever things happen to us, when family members and friends are maybe not as loving as we would want, or even abusive, physically or emotionally or whatever it is. When I was growing up and there was not a perfect home life and things were we were pretty rough off financially, and there was a lot of things happening that would not be ideal. I, at the time, was miserable about that. Like, that was very upsetting to me. As an adult, I can look back and I can be thankful. There's Mr. Forkle. Hi, buddy. Did you sneeze? He just wanted to come and say hi. Hi. You want to come up, see, so everybody can see you? You got to come up, see. No, he doesn't. He shook his head no. But looking back now as a grown-up, I can say that I'm very thankful for the things that I went through as a child, because now I have the ability to... There he is. Are you saying hi? Are you guys coming over here to say hi? Oh, they're both saying hi. Okay, here they both are. Here's Clementine, the producer, and Mr. Forkle, the non-producer, because he's just a puppy and he doesn't know how to answer emails. He can't do that. So, anyways, I think that whatever is discouraging is something that God is capable of using for our good. So we can continue to I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard to keep it together, but they're so cute. Okay. And they've been asleep this whole time. All of a sudden they woke up. So let's see. But that was an excellent question, and I do think that there are many times whenever they call it, a lot of pastors will call it a desert season, like you've gone through the desert, like you're going through all these difficulties, and maybe you feel dry spiritually, and there are people coming against you, and does the adversary want to discourage you? Absolutely. Will God still use that for your good? Absolutely. And it will sanctify you. A lot of times sanctification comes in the harshest times. When we're having everything go perfect and everything is good, you're usually not going to be sanctified in those moments, because why worry about anything? Everything's going great. So God usually uses those points that are really difficult to actually grow us the most. So the tail looks like a squirrel running past. That's so funny. I wish while she was here I had thought of to say squirrel, because when she hears the word squirrel, she thinks that I'm telling her that her friend squirrel, remember the fat squirrel from our old house? She thinks that I'm telling her that he's out there, and he's not, because we're in a different house now. But let's see, next on the list, because we are going really long this time, because this might be the longest live event I have ever done. The next thing that I have on this list is, Brooke Bart's most recent episode. So if you guys didn't know, and I kept forgetting to remind everybody, the Open Hearts podcast from Brooke Bart's has moved to the Bar Network, over to Dwayne's network, which is just absolutely fantastic, and I'm so thrilled for her and everything that she's got going on. And her recent episode about why we love is it just was released, and so I just wanted to make sure that you guys had a link to that so that you can find her podcast and subscribe, because it is over on the different platforms. So if you were looking for Brooke Bart's episodes and you couldn't find them, it's because they're on their own RSS feed now, so she's got her own space. So I made sure to link to that. Also, another thing that I linked to that I was really excited about, if you guys want some stuff to watch, I have mentioned several times the Veritas Domain blog. That is Pastor Jimmy, and he is a graduate of the Master's Seminary, and he does the Veritas Domain blog. And he was recently over on this channel, and I forgot to write down the name of the channel, but there's a link to it, talking about the arguments against purgatory. And I just thought that was such an exciting thing to see him do. He's been on our program a couple of times. He's been a tremendous supporter. Sorry, Mr. Forkel wants to go outside, so he's jumping on the back door because I'm not live or anything, and it's no big deal. But I wanted to make sure to link to that for you guys, so that you could go and check that out. Very exciting. We do have a couple of prayer requests also here today before I announce the winners of the big giveaway, and then also send you to the sneak peek that I have. So the prayer requests, 2 of them, the dogs are noisy. They are noisy. Yes, you are right. I would let him out, but it snowed and he'll get all wet. You know what? I'm just gonna let him out real quick so that this stops. If Kristen's still in the comments, then you guys, this is what she had to deal with. I'm gonna give you guys the bee squirrel here, and I'm gonna let him out. But because my headphones are coming with me, I can keep talking to you guys even while I'm all the way over here. Because that's the cool thing about using headphones for microphones. Oh wow, look, it's actually got just like 2 inches of snow now on the ground out there. It's really pretty, but the dogs, they get, they get kind of gross whenever they're all out there playing in the snow, and they get it in their ears, and then their ears get all infected and all that other stuff. See, Kristen had to deal with this nonsense because the dogs decided that they love Kristen, and they would not leave her alone. So there are so many times in the episode that Kristen and I did, both of them actually, where you can hear Mr. Forkel going, because he's so lazy that he won't pick his feet up, and he slides them. And so it's so, especially like at 3 a.m, it is so loud anywhere he walks, because there's not carpet here like in our last house. The only places in the whole house where there is carpet is in the bedrooms. And so Mr. Forkel all over the place. And they would not leave Kristen alone. It was actually really cute. But that's how you know Kristen is good people, because the dogs love her. So the two prayer requests that I have, the first one actually was mentioned in the group, I believe at the beginning of the week, that if we could join together in prayer for the believers that were arrested in China a couple of years ago. And I believe somebody actually told us that one of them is reformed, is a reformed brother, and they're still in jail. And it's been 2 years now, and I'm sure that the Chinese prisons are just as concerned about the rights and privileges of their prisoners as America. That's not a thing that happens over there. So if we could join together in praying for those brothers in Christ, brothers and sisters in Christ. I believe 50 people actually were arrested originally, and so I know that they're still facing a lot of trials and persecution over there, the underground church. So that's the first prayer request, that you guys would join with us in praying for them. The second one actually was sent by Cindy M. to pray for Catherine. And Catherine has SPS, and I had never heard of this before today. Stiff person syndrome. Stiff person syndrome. Sorry. Stiff person syndrome is Catherine has been in the hospital away from her children for a lot longer than she expected, so she thought that she would be back home by now, and so she hasn't been able to go home. They're talking about letting her go home, but unfortunately there is a little bit of a discussion of like how to get her home safely. Should they fly her, should they let her husband drive her just very carefully? And then also she asked for prayer for her parents who are watching her kiddos, and for her whole family. This has, I'm sure, been an incredibly difficult time for them. And so if you guys could join with all of us in praying for Catherine and her family, Catherine Berger and her family. And that is the only, the last prayer request that I have. So I can now officially announce the winners. And I hope that you guys are ready, because I'm super excited. I need like a drum roll, right? Like I need the little button that I click and then it does the drum roll thing. So the first winner, first place winner is, I guess it should go the other way, right? Should I start with the first person, the first place winner, and then go down? I'm going to do that because I started that already, and why not? Let me see here. The first place is going to win the Pastor Osmond's book, God Doesn't Whisper, Costi Hinn's book, God, Greed, and the American Gospel. And are you referring to the woman from American Gospel? That is her, isn't it? That was her name. I think that might be her. Yeah, I don't know if that's the same Catherine, but I know that is the name of the lady from American Gospel.
Maybe it is okay if that doesn't count. I'm so hungry.
Yeah, that's okay. Sure. Yeah. Sorry. This is what happens whenever I'm in the living room instead of in my own office, because there's no office here. I still think I should have been in the little cupboard downstairs. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Okay, so the first place winner, yes, is going to win all three of the books that we're doing the giveaway for, and also an item in the store. So that is Dr. Jensen's book, the online copy, right? So the digital copy of Dr. Nathaniel Jensen's book, Costi Hinn's book, and Jim's book. That is actually going to Gregory Swafford from Facebook. So yay, Gregory, congratulations. I'll send you a message later on I don't think you're watching this, but I'll make sure to shoot everybody a message that won. The second place winner, actually, and this is so funny because he literally asked last week in the live event if he could win. And it's so weird to me because I can watch, it's fun that the little, she's all upset. This is funny. The way that the thing works, the way that what's it called? The program that I use works for whenever I put all the names in, I insert all the names in, and then it goes and it tick through, and so I can see everybody's name. And Dwayne only had like one entry, but he won second place. So congratulations, Dwayne, you did win. You won all three of the books, but not the item from the store, so second place was that. So congratulations to Dwayne for winning that. I'll shoot you an email. I don't think you're actually in the comments right now. The third place is the Pastor Jim's book and Costi Hinn's book, and that went to Jennifer Griffin. So congratulations, Jennifer, you won the 3rd place. Now everybody else who won is just getting either an item from the store or a copy of Pastor Jim's book, because that was my top 3, and now this is just the extras. This is extra special. So Chris, you won, and you're in the comment section, so congratulations, Chris. You totally won a copy of Pastor Jim's book. I'm super excited that you happen to be in the comments as well as winning, so that's really, really cool. Congratulations, Chris. The next winner, actually, the last winner of Pastor Jim's book is a person in the group, I think, and that would be Hilda Rodriguez, so I'll make sure to send her a message over on Facebook. And then the last winner is a winner of just an item from the store, and that is, and I don't think she's in the comments this time, but she might have been earlier, and that is Maisha. I would never pronounce her name right, but she won an item from the store. So congratulations everybody who won, and thank you all for playing, because that was really, really fun. And hopefully, I was thinking that we would get back to doing like the monthly contests that we used to do, where every Friday I would do something and you guys would have to guess and stuff. So hopefully we can get back to that in the new year. I was thinking the first thing that would be really fun is to decide if something is a Christian song or a not Christian song. So there you go. Nobody tell Andrew Rappaport, I'll never live that down. That's funny because you win a lot, don't you? I thought that was fun too. Super duper neat. Go eat some Oreos. There you go, Josh. Now that is all that I actually had to show with you guys. So the last thing is this sneak peek for Monday's episode. Hopefully you guys will have a wonderful weekend and a blessed time of fellowship. And I will be emailing or messaging all of you guys that won and getting your addresses so that I can ship stuff out to you. And yeah, have a blessed weekend. Thank you all for watching. I'm so sorry that it went so long. This was a really, really long one. But God bless each and every one of you. And I will see you all next week. Bye, Humblebees.
So then after that, we found out that the pastor had called a couple of churches to let them know that if I were to show up on Sunday, that I was somebody who would bring division to their church, that I held heretical beliefs. They should not let me attend their church. And if they did, they needed to be warned about me. That was really hurtful. I didn't know what to say about it.
Right. Yeah, that's really intense. You're going to go so far.
Yeah.
Because they at no point did they actually offer you scriptural defense of their positions. Right. There was no biblically saying, "Hey, this is why we believe what we believe in the Bible. Here's where we get this from Scripture." But to decide then, without actually showing you that you were wrong scripturally, to go ahead and call other people and tell them that you're a heretic, is that is incredible that a church would be willing to do that. Yeah. And you found out because they actually called somebody you know.
Yeah.
And thankfully that particular person was like, "Hey, this is not good. You need to knock it off." Yeah. So that's good, at least. But we don't know how many churches they called ahead of time. I'm sure at least all of the other ARC churches were called, because there's several in there.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, several in this area.
Yeah.
So they've now taken their sticker off. They've called all these other places. Mm-hmm. You've been made a pariah, right? They're not they're not talking with you. Their children are being kept away from your children.
Yeah, and if I would make a post that was even slightly in disagreement with anything that they taught, I had people commenting on my posts on Facebook to tell me how wrong I was. I would get private messages from people telling me how wrong I was.
Is it ever the leaders, like the pastor?
It was never the leaders. It was always the people that I've been friends with for years, like really good friends with, would just all of a sudden just go off on me. A lot of them just unfriended me immediately. Some of them stuck around, I think, to watch me.
How did they find out then? Because this wasn't something that was like publicly happening in front of everybody, right? And you weren't going from person to person.
No, I was not.
So at some point, the leaders had to have let folks know.
Yes.
That this was the situation.
So I know that there was an email sent to the group of women that I was leading through small groups. They pretty much said that I just held with different doctrines. They said my prayer life was different, which was a weird thing to say.
I think that diamond still needs a little more polish.
Yeah.